Have you ever been so fascinated by a species that all you wanted to do was learn as much as you could about them? For me, that species was sharks. More specifically, the great white shark. I honestly don't remember what first drew me to them, but I do remember that every chance I got, I was researching them and reading about them. And the more I learned, the more captivated I became by the species. Maybe part of my fascination came from wanting to better understand a species that was portrayed in such a negative light, especially in movies. I wanted to understand why that was. What caused them to be represented in such a negative light? Who are they really, and what makes them so important to our ocean ecosystems? The more I dove in and learned as much as I could, the more fascinated I became. And eventually, that fascination grew into a deeper love and appreciation for great white sharks. I even dreamed about one day being able to work with them, but my path in life took me in a different direction, and now I get to connect with them through my art. For this piece specifically, I was inspired to create it for an animal-themed art competition. My concept was inspired by that moment when a great white breaches the surface of the water. I wanted the composition to capture the power and the beauty of this apex predator, but I also wanted to use a color palette that was bold and energetic to represent a side of the species that most people may not think about or ever see. I wanted to use a dramatic moment that portrayed the shark and its environment, but hopefully also sparked a little bit of curiosity about this apex predator. In a way, I think I was trying to share my perspective of how I see great white sharks. When I began this piece, I honestly didn't have much of a plan for where the colors would go. I had a rough idea of the vision I wanted, and then I kind of just went with the flow. You can see me zooming out a couple of times throughout the process to assess how the colors are working together and figure out what color I wanted to add next. Working digitally, I'm often extremely zoomed in while I'm creating. So zooming out every so often helps me step back and see what's working, what's not, and how the piece is coming together as a whole. This is also the largest canvas I have worked on in my style before, so I really wanted to be intentional about how I approached the composition and challenge myself with something I hadn't attempted before. And even though this piece didn't place in the competition, I'm still so incredibly proud of it. Every time I attempt a new idea, I feel myself getting stronger as an artist, and I think this piece really pushed me outside of my comfort zone. I've represented sharks in different ways throughout my art and design journey, but I think this piece showcases the way I see the great white shark better than anything I've created before. Not just as a predator, but as a majestic and beautiful species that we have the honor of sharing the ocean with, and hopefully one day getting to witness in person. I think that's part of why I've been so fascinated with them for so long. There's still so much more to learn about them. And even though I never ended up working with great white sharks in the way I once dreamed about, I think it's pretty special that I still get to connect with them through something I love. If you enjoyed watching the species come to life in colorful dots, leave a shark in the comments, and let me know if there's another species you'd like me to explore. As always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Species World.